Hello everyone, welcome for another episode of video tutorial. So for this video, this is going to be the first video for this episode and we are looking at the use of DAS for your software development. So these are the topics that we will cover for this series. So let's go ahead and use your web browser in order to have access to the DAS programming facility. So you can go online using Google and type in DASPad and enter. So this is the URLs that you can have access to the online compiler. So this is the ones that you can use in order to test your program right here. So the first thing we want to do is that to introduce the use of the coding areas and show you what would be the output. So for example, this is the default code that is provided by the URL itself. So now you can just click run and you can expect to see the output in this area. We call them console area. Okay, so we're gonna go from scratch, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all this and then replace this existing code with my discussion right here, and you can see that as soon as I put it right there, it's gonna show many error messages. That's because this is not part of the program. This is just part of the discussion. So we are going to make it as the comments. So you can highlight all of this and then place command slash or control slash on your keyboard. If you are using Windows, you use control slash. If you're using MacBook, then you can use command slash together. And as you can see, after you place command or control slash, it turns your statement into comment statement like this. Okay, so let's go from basic one. So for the basic one here in DAS, okay, so ability to store the data is considered to be number one priority. So all in all, when you do start doing the programming, we want to be able to manage data. So we want to store the data and be able to have access to the data when we need it. So in order to work with DAS always have what we call the position to execute the code. We call entry point. Okay, so let's go ahead and put entry point together. So in this case, we are going to put this as the name of the entry point, which is what we call main. Now, if you come from the background with Python or C-based programming, you should know that in order to support the entry point, you're going to need to put what we call the main function. This is the function or the command that will be automatically called by the system to execute the program or the script. So after the name of your function, you also have to put the parentheses to denote that this is the function or command. And we also have to define the beginning and the end of your command, which is the brackets in DARS. So this one denote the beginning, this one denote the end. So you can think about it, this is the beginning of your script and this is the end of your script. Okay, so now let's take a look at number one. So we want to be able to store the data, right? So in order to support this, then you can go ahead and go into the function body here. And again, this is what we call the main entry point. It is the main function or command that will be executed or called by the system. Okay, so whatever you put it into the bracket is going to be the code that will be executed, okay, by this command. So over here, the first step I want to do is I want to be able to store the data. Let's think about storing the data for an integer value. So in this case, we are going to use x equal to 10. So for Python, this would be okay. You specify where is the location that you want to store the data. So you put the name reference. We call them the variable or information. And then you put the equal signs or the equal operators to assign the value to this position or this variable. Now, that's Python. In DAS, then in order to complete this statement, you put semicolon at the end. Okay? Now, unlike Python, so whenever you want to have the storage space so that you can store the value or data, you have to tell which data type you want to support. So in this case, we want to support an integer value, which is the number. So in DAS, you can prefix the variable, okay, with the data type. So in this case, we're going to use int, for example. So in this case, as you can see, we say that x is going to be the new space, storage space in the memory. and it's going to support the integer type. Okay, so this highlight alone, this is what we call the variable declaration in most of the solid type language. Okay, you don't have that concept in Python. Now for equal, that's going to be used for data assignment operation. So as you can see, just only for this statement right here, we have two main operation. First, we define the storage space, and we also tell what is the data type to be support. This is the operation to assign the data to this variable. Okay, so once you are ready, then you can print the message. Okay, so that's the first one. The second one is ability to print out the message. So once you already store the data in the memory, somewhere in the memory, okay, so we should be able to have access to the data and be able to print it out. Now, in order to have access to the data, you can refer or reference to the name of that variable easily. And we can have a command, we call them print, to print a message. Now, any command in Python or in any languages, especially for Dash, we require the use of the name of the function or the command followed by the parentheses. The parentheses is there so that you can take input. Even though you don't take any input at all, then you still need to use parentheses for any command or function that you want to call. In this case, this command will take one positional input. So you can take x as the input. And then just like when you do the variable declaration and data assignments operations, by the end of your command, you put semicolon like this as well. Okay, all right. So now I'm gonna try to see what is the output by clicking on this button one more time. So as I said, I do not assume you guys to have any backgrounds in coding at all. So what I'm going to do today is just go from basic one, okay? And if you have any question about anything at all, feel free to send me a message. Thank you. All right, so as you can see, first we say that we want to allocate the memory space to support an integer value, and we assign 10 to that position, and then we have access the data from that position using the same name right here, and then we print that value as the output. So that is how we print out a message. Okay, now the next step is sometimes you might have two values and you want to combine them together. For example, you might have another variable and it is going to be supporting the same type. So for example, we have y equal to 20. Okay, can you get? So in order to complete this statement, then we put semicolon, and in front of the variable, then we put the data type. So in this case, we're going to use the same data type, which is int. Again, one more time, over here, int, okay, is the name to support integer type. All right, and we put it in front of the name of variable. Okay, now if you want to combine things together like x and y, then you say x and you use the plus operators like so. And by the end of these operations, then you have to put semicolon to end your command as well. But keep in mind that because you add something to something else, and these two things will create another thing, which is the output. So in order to obtain and contain the output, you're going to have to assign this output or this result to another variable or another memory space. So that is why you put the output. Okay, so this is going to be say, hey, after you got your result, please put your result to another variable. Let me call result, for example. Now, can you guess what should be the data type in front of this? The answer is integer. Okay, so when you have integer plus integer, then the output is going to be an integer. All right, so now you can do the same thing. So you can move your command from here and then put it down here so that you can print out the value of result. You can keep the command as you like, and you can also add the new command as well. So in this case, you're gonna get the result, which is equal to 30. Okay, now this is the simple example, and as you can see, it is used to support the variable that belong to an integer. But what if I would like to support real number? Okay, so for example, if I decided to make changes a little bit, so instead of assigning 20 for y, then I'm going to put 20.5. So this has become the real number, but that's going to be giving you the error message. So the compiler will try to guess to see what you are trying to do. And they say that no, because now your value is not integer, but it's the real number. So if you want to support the real number, then you cannot use integer for this support. So therefore, you can use what we call double. So double is the name. Okay, so let me summarize right here. So double is the name to support real number type. All right, so that's the second data type that you learned today. So once you have this one, then that's going to be problematic because when you're trying to assign the value of double plus, the integer added with the double, then this is no longer integer anymore. It's become the real number, right? So therefore, as you can see, instead of using integer, then you can use it as double in this case. Okay, and as you can see, the error will be disappear, and you can print out the results, and you expect to see 30.5 as the output. So you might wonder to see, hey, if this is the case, why don't we just use double for them all? We don't have to worry about integer. That's correct. I mean, you can use double for this position as well. But for compiler language like this, whenever you use integer, it means that it's going to allocate less space comparing to double, meaning the sometimes, if you have so many variables in your memories and your memory type is integer, then it's going to take smaller space. If it is double, then it takes bigger space. So that is why when you're trying to do the coding at the first time, even though you are a business student in right here, it doesn't mean that you should not care about data type. You should care about data type because that resource consumption, right? So memory is also a critical part of your computation. So therefore, data type should be there. All right, next. So once you understand about two data type, we have another data type for you. Okay, so this type we call string. And unlike integer and double, string look like this. This is uppercase letter. This is used to support, okay, text type value. So therefore, let's say that I want to print out another message. Like let's say hello, then what I can do is I can simply say string and message number one. So that's going to be my variable name, okay, equal to the new text value like hello there and semicolon at the end. Then this time instead of printing out the result, I'm going to make changes a little bit. So this one is going to be message number one and then print them out right here. And you can see that the system will print out a message for you. Okay, so now you have learned three different data types for your variable to store your data. First is for integer, double for real number, and string for the text value. So those are three different, basics data type for your data storage purpose. Okay, so let's go from here. So now you are able to make a text. Now let's say that is it possible to combine text with number? Let's say I want to have another variable called double c equal to 1.2. Now I have another variable, let's say message number 2 equal to, okay, what about just put something like value, okay, like this. So that's going to be message. And then if I would like to combine these together, like c plus the message number 2. Now you would wonder, okay, in this case, how can I add the number or combine the number with message? Unlike number and number, I mean you can use plus operator to combine them and give you the result as addition operation. But over here, that's the message. This is the number. Is it possible for this? Well, let's say that we have, and we call it, this is going to be the output equal to this, and we want to print out the output. We are trying to combine a number with the text. And as you can see, that it is impossible unless you guys gonna have to convert this into text manually. So if you have number, you can add them together. If you have text and text, you can add them together as well. For example, right here, we know that this is the number. It cannot be directly added to this text. So we're gonna have to turn this into string. So as you can see, any variable belong to the type double or integer. Those are number, but you can magically turn it into text by calling dot operators followed by the function toString, so that this together become another text value. Okay, and then how about if we do this? I'm gonna switch the position a little bit. So this time we are going to have message number 2 as the prefix for this message, and this is gonna be the the second data right here. Okay, as you can see, so now you have outputs. Oh, sorry, that's gonna be message number 2. All right, so I expect to see value equal to this. Now this is text. This is not number anymore. It's actually right here as the number, but after you already have converted into text by using this command, this become another text. So now text and text, you can combine them. Okay, all right. You can also easily combine two texts together. For example, you might have another message. Let's call message number 3 equal to another value. In this case, okay, sorry, this should be together. So in this case, you can print out. So you can assign another variable called output number 2 equal to message number 2 plus message number 3, and you can print out the output number 2 and run the program right here. That's the output. Now the reason this is made possible because this is already the text. This is another text. So when you add text and text together, no need for any conversion. So keep in mind that whenever you want to print out a message and you want to make it as the message like this, any value needs to be converted into the text first. Okay, this is okay, but we have another way around that make it more easier for you so that you don't have to convert it into text first. Okay, what is the solution? Well, let's go to another solution. So to do the same thing, okay, as printout, you can use string literal operators. Okay, now let's take a look at this. Let's say that I want to print out hello there plus this value together as a message. So I don't want to go into line number 19 first to convert it into the text and print it out, but I just want to keep it as the input and print it out directly. What should I do? Well, this is what you can do. Now we're gonna go to another print function, and then you can just say, okay, in this case, you're gonna have to put double quote like that, okay, and then you can refer to this variable name, so you can copy it right here. Now if you print it this way, it's gonna just print out message number 1 as the output, not the value that is held by this guy, right? So whenever you have this thing like this, you can put the dollar signs. This one will tell the print that, hey man, I want you to print out the value for this variable. So that now when you print it out, you can see that now, okay, how about if I just make the comment for this first so that you can see the output clearly. So as you can see, it's print out the hello there. Now without the dollar sign, it's gonna print out just the word message number 1 as the output. Whenever you put dollar sign right there, it is to tell that you want to have the value from this variable. Now, you can guess now that, okay, so if I want to print out the value from C as well, what should I do? Well, we say C and put the dollar sign. Let's say what is the output. Okay, so as you can see now, I don't have to go into this process to turn the second value into string first before combining them and print them out. I can actually use a string literal operator. This is the one. Okay, you prefix the variable name with the dollar sign. That will tell, okay, please print the value of this variable. Please print the value of this variable, and the print function will take care of the conversion automatically for you. So the printout will be all as text. All right. So I think this is all for the first video tutorial. So for the second video tutorial, we will looking at the topics that allow us to use stars to perform mathematical operation. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.